boy. Cooper, where's the shed? Look at that. Oh my gosh. That is a cool set. Right next to each other. Look at the base on that.
Midwest Whitetail is brought to you by Realtree, HOYT Archery, Fuse Accessories, Muddy Outdoors, Cabela's, Trophy Rock, Scott Archery, Frigid Forage, Rocket Broadheads, Bloodsport Arrows, Redneck Hunting Blinds, Yeti Coolers, Quiet Cat, Non-Typical Wildlife Solutions, Deer Grow, and Nikon.
Thanks for joining us here at Midwest Whitetail. This past week, as you can see from the introduction, was filled with a lot of shed hunting. Scott Pruka and his group came down and hunted my farm and some of his property, and they're going to bring us up to speed on some of the antlers that they found. Also, the guys from the office got out and did a bunch of shed hunting as well. So we're going to jump right to the shed hunting now, then I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk a little bit more about one of the deer that we found.
There's one behind the GFS drop.
Oh, really? That's right, I had 4 of them.
We're ready for your morning interview about shed hunting.
Good morning. We are out here in Iowa again. We were out yesterday for 2 hours, and just like last year, there weren't a whole lot. But we're going to give it another shot today. We got Sam here. Sam, where'd he go to? he's our shed hunter. He's already found a couple this year in Wisconsin, but the rest of us, we haven't got any. So we're going to give it a shot. It's a beautiful day. About 45, 50, it's supposed to be 60. So we're on our way.
Hold it up, Sam. That was not staged, folks. Look at that kid. Whoa.
Oh, there's another one.
Just a couple other antlers I want to talk about real quick that we picked up this year. These were actually from my farm. And this is the Decoy 8, that buck that hit the decoy 2 years ago. And he'd been down. This deer I actually believe shed before that second shotgun season when my dad had a tag, because he was coming into the beans all the time. All of a sudden he just disappeared. However, a big bodied buck that had shed was in that field, so I'm pretty sure that was him. And my nephew Carson was down a couple weeks ago, and we were actually driving the four-wheeler out to the bean field, and he spotted these 5 yards off the field at the end of another picked bean field. So that was a really cool find. And a week ago, there's another buck that I call split switch. Last year, this buck had a split on his left brow tine, and this year it moved here. So it's a deer that kind of lives on the other side of the farm, and I don't really hunt him that hard because I was after flat top and decoy 8, and then late season he moves over where the beans are. So this year he dropped this shed literally 5-10 steps from the redneck blind where my dad was hunting shotgun season. I was hunting late season quite a bit. And I found that. So later that afternoon, Erik and Greg came out, and we were going to try and find the other side. And Greg comes out of the brush with this. And I'm like, what antler is that? Well, lo and behold, it's the same deer from the year before. And I've got pictures both years. And the bad news is I think he's actually bigger the year before by a little bit. But in any event, he's a deer that's, I'd have to say he's going to be 5 or 6 next year for sure. And just a cool deer. So he's a deer that will be on the radar for sure next year. And that brings us to the final and sad note of the day. Flat Top has left the building. We were coming out one of our walks today next to one of Bill's neighbors, and they were telling me about a deer that they had found that was a big 8-pointer, and I'm like, well, this deer is not that big. I thought surely it's not Flat Top, and he said, oh, it's in the barn if you want to see it. And this deer was dead up by the road right on the fence of his property line. So I don't know if it was shot late in the season, but I did have a picture of him alive on December 21st after the first shotgun season. And lo and behold, I walk in the barn and I'm like, it's old Flat Top. And he was cool. He was actually bigger than I thought. I didn't tape him, but I'm guessing he was probably 100 and low 140s. But just massive, wide, goofy looking thing. So I think we got a little video when we were over there looking at it, but Flat Top's dead. So that's kind of a sad note to the end of the story. It makes me really sad that my dad didn't get to pull the trigger on him when he had him at 60 yards at last light with Greg that one night during the shotgun season. But in any event, we know where the story ended. Not sure how it ended, but we know it's over. So we still got some deer to chase next year. We've got a little shed season left here, another month probably before it starts to green up. We'll still try and find a few antlers. But so the first big walk is in the books of Bill's farm, and we've got about a month left to see if we can pick up any more before it greens up too much. But we had a good day today. It was beautiful. Southern Iowa, 60 degrees. Can't beat that. Well, here we are. It's March 20th, Southern Iowa, and we had about seven folks walking Bill's farm today. And this is our pile. We came up with 20 antlers. Actually, there's only 1 or 2 that are old antlers, but nice up-and-comer 10 here. Actually, there's not too many great up-and-comers. They're all other young deer, except for our last walk today. Look at that. Solid, mid 150s, maybe a little bigger. Nice heavy, great big bases. Nice 10 points. So here we are. It's February 20th, and we may still have some deer carrying, but we pulled 20 antlers today. We'll probably make one more big push in middle of March and see if we can mop up anything that we missed or that's fallen since, and go from there. But the find of the day, John and Sam. Look at that. It's a great antler.
This buck is the one that John and Sam found, and it's a deer that I've got a fair amount of history with, at least a couple years worth now. In 2014, this was an 8-pointer, and I thought he was probably a 3-year-old deer that year. When you got just the right camera angle, I had a bunch of trail camera pictures of this deer. I thought he was a giant. Then he would turn, and then you say, maybe he's not so big. But either way, he was one that was on the radar in 2014, a deer that I had a lot of trail camera pictures of, and a deer that we filmed at one of the tree stands that we call Old Reliable. And I believe that was after the rut. He was coming out there to feed that season. So coming into this year, he was one of the deer that I was hoping to see. I didn't expect him, excuse me, I didn't expect him to jump from an 8 to a 10 pointer. He did add G4s on both sides, and he got a little bit more massive, but overall, I wouldn't say his frame got particularly a lot bigger. And I got some daylight pictures of him this past fall in November. It was in a spot that I didn't really want to hunt because it was a little bit more of a sensitive spot. You know, the type of location where if you'd go in to hunt it, you'd run the risk of bumping that deer out or, you know, contaminating that area. So I was hoping to pick him off in some of the spots around there, but I just never did come up with him. I never saw him, never had him come past anytime that we were in the tree stand. But the guys found the antlers not too far from where I was hunting him back in November. So I think we've got his core area pretty well nailed down. I know where he's living for the most part. He's been there for 2 years now. If he was a 4-year-old this year, obviously, you know, he's got a couple more years yet where potentially he could keep getting bigger. And he's not a giant deer by any means, but he's one of the deer that's going to be a lot of fun for us to hunt this coming season. During the off-season shows now, I'm going to talk more about how we pattern these deer, and in this buck in particular, and a few others as we go. Like I said, more specifically about how I'm going to approach hunting those individual deer. So hopefully you've enjoyed the shed hunting segment. We've got more shed hunting action in the next episode. In fact, we got a big surprise for you. So come back again next week. We're going to continue to look for some of these bucks that were, you know, that were on the hit list last year, the no-name 10 and the buck that we had nicknamed Lefty. We'd really like to find both of those deer to confirm that they made it through the winter and that they're both still on the farm. Also, like I mentioned in my blog on the website, there's a lot you can learn from where you find the antlers of a particular buck. A lot of times you find those antlers right in that deer's core, right in the middle of his core area. And that might be our part of the Midwest. You know, I'm sure when you go far enough north, you get into deer that have to do a little bit more migration, and then you're going to find the antlers in slightly different places than where you would find the deer during the hunting season. But here in Iowa, Illinois, Missouri, Kansas, Dakotas, for sure South Dakota, and go back east, pretty much where you find the deer during the winter is going to be where you're going to find him back again during the hunting season next year. Well, that's it for this week. I'll look forward to seeing you right back here again next week for the next episode of Midwest Whitetail. And remember to always dream big.